Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about my job here in Tokyo. I've gotten a whole heap of questions as to what my job is and what I do, so I thought I would do the answers justice and answer them in a video. I do heaps and heaps of things. I'm a very busy person. I always have a lot of projects going on at once, but basically my job is that I am an English teacher. So big surprise, very unique. No one's ever done that before. But yes, I am an English teacher. I teach English to very small, very adorable Japanese children. I'm going to speak more about my job as an English teacher in a minute. First, I'm going to speak about all of the other things I do and what led me to being an English teacher here in Japan. So if you want to skip to the bits about being an English teacher, the timestamp will be just here. So even though I'm an English teacher and that is my main job, I also do a whole heap of other things. For example, I am also a postgraduate student. So I'm currently studying my Master of Arts Writing and Literature with an Australian university, even though I live in Japan. As of a couple weeks ago though, I'm on holidays, so that is really nice because now I finally have time to read and sleep and breathe, which is good. And obviously postgraduate study takes up a lot of time and effort, so that's all a part of what my occupation is, even though being a student is not technically my job. And in addition to that, I also do freelance writing, so I don't do that much. It's not a very big part of my income. So I'm working on a lot of different things at the moment, a lot of different articles and pictures and all of that kind of stuff. But for example, I write for an online magazine called Savvy Tokyo. I love Savvy Tokyo, they're absolutely excellent. They're made by the same people who made Gaijin Pot, and it's an online magazine that's targeted at female expats living in Tokyo. So obviously it's very targeted at me, and I love the articles that are on there and they're really good. And I'm also lucky enough to be a contributor to that magazine. So yeah, a few months ago I wrote a Tokyo health food store guide, and then last month I think I wrote my Jimbocho neighborhood guide, because Jimbocho is a very famous district for secondhand bookshops and I love books, as you know. But yeah, in addition to being a student and being an English teacher, I am also a freelance writer, which is really cool because I now feel like I'm able to call myself a writer because I now finally get paid for it. And then I have one last thing to speak about before I talk about my English teaching job. So when I first came to Japan back in July, I started doing an internship, which I mentioned heaps and heaps of videos ago. So some of you have asked about my internship and what it was and how I got it and all that stuff. So I'm going to be speaking about that now. So this particular internship I applied for when we were still in Australia. I applied for it the week before we came. So it came up at what I thought was really perfect timing. So I applied for it before we left Australia. I interviewed a week or something after we got here, and then I got the internship and started a couple weeks later. And that internship was supposed to be my job. It was advertised as paid, and it was in a field which I felt quite qualified to be doing an internship in, and it was supposed to be this big amazing thing, and I was really excited for it, and I thought it was going to be really cool. Turns out it wasn't paid. And unfortunately, I'm not magic. I can't pay for rent or bills or food with experience. So basically, after 2.5 months of work and no pay, I had to quit that internship. And it was this whole saga, and it was so stressful, and I never spoke to you guys about it at the time because I was so frustrated and stressed out about everything, because I didn't start the internship straight away. There were a couple weeks before I started, and then I had worked there for 2 months or 2.5 months. So it was basically 3 months in Japan without an income. And financially it was really stressful, and I felt like such an idiot for getting myself involved in this situation because it was advertised as paid and then it wasn't paid, and I felt I just felt like such a dummy for letting this happen to myself. But anyway, I don't really know how much detail to go into it with you guys. I don't know what I should or shouldn't say because I want to be mature and professional, but I'm still really salty about it. I'm still so mad. So maybe I'll speak about it eventually, but I don't think it should be anytime soon because I'm still quite ticked off with what happened. So I don't think I could speak about it in a way that's going to be the most mature. But eventually, if enough time has passed, I might talk to you guys about it and explain what happened and how I found myself in this stupid predicament. But yeah, essentially I was doing an internship when I first came here. Had to quit that internship because I realized I wasn't gonna get paid. So yeah, it was this mad scramble for me trying to like find a job, and I very fortunately, a week later, like literally a week to the day after I quit this internship, I had a job interview for a new job. So I was very, very fortunate. I was very lucky that it turned out to be okay. Because the day after the interview, I found out I had the job, and that is now my current job as an English teacher. So I was very, very lucky that everything worked out okay, and my naivety didn't mean that we had to leave Japan or anything. And luckily, this new job has been absolutely fantastic, and I've enjoyed it so much, and I get paid, so that's a really good thing. But yeah, basically, I'm an English teacher. So I teach English to children ages 3 to 12, I think is the oldest child I've taught. And yeah, it's an interesting setup. I really like the way this company works. I love my job. I think this is the best possible English teaching job I could have here in Japan. I am not an ALT, so a lot of teachers who come here are assistant learning teachers or ALTs. It's a very, very popular job to have in Japan for foreigners, to be an assistant to like a teacher teaching. Instead, I am the teacher. So I have an assistant who is Japanese who helps me with students, helps deal with kids when kids don't understand what's going on, or if the kid's having trouble like focusing or whatever stuff kids do, the assistant helps me with that. So I am just there to teach the English. And it's really good as well because these classes are full immersion. So I don't have to speak any Japanese at all. In fact, I'm not supposed to speak any Japanese, which is good because I can speak a bit of Japanese, but my Japanese isn't fluent. So I'm very happy I did not have to get a job where speaking Japanese was a requirement. But yeah, I will also say that this is my very first English teaching position. I had no experience teaching English. I don't even have an English teaching degree. The closest thing I have isn't like the fact that I'm studying my master's in English. So I think that helped me get the job because I got like contacted about this job like immediately after I applied. So I think having the master's was really helpful. But as with most English teaching jobs in Japan for foreigners, you just need a bachelor's degree. But in spite of me not having experience, in spite of this being like a really, really scary thing to begin with, I have loved teaching these kids. They are so cute. They're all of the students I've taught have been absolutely adorable, and I love them so much, and they're such sweet little kids, and it's just been such a fun and interesting experience. And in a lot of ways, I'm really, really grateful with the way everything's panned out because I'm so glad I found this particular company at this time, and I'm really, really happy with my English teaching job in Japan. The setup's really good, and I turn up for work and I enjoy it, and it's brilliant, and I feel very lucky. So yeah. But yeah, so I'm an English teacher, I'm a student, I am a writer. There's probably a few other things you could chuck in there as well, but all those things basically make up my job here in Japan. And I think that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and have a lovely day. Bye.